What's up, everyone? Life with a Pepperoni here, and today we're gonna be chopping up my old slash new to me bike. And here it is. So everybody bangs on Sportsters, says Sportsters are girls' bikes, really mean to them, but honestly, I love them. I have a Panhead myself, a 1954 Panhead, but like, these Evo Sportsters, they go. They are reliable, they're nimble, they're quick, with minimal upgrades. You can make them go like pretty fast. For a Harley, it's nothing compared to sport bikes or anything Japanese, but for a Harley, they go pretty decent. And the whole thing with this bike was, back in the day, my mom like harped on, like, I'm talking when I was like 18, like 17, 18. My family and I are super close. She was like, if you want a bike, like for the first couple bikes, build it. So I first built a KZ 750 with 1000cc carbs and everything. Nice little like tracker cafe racer. I'll see if I can find a picture and post it up right here. And then the Sportster came along. A buddy of mine just put new 1200 or 1250 SNS kit on it. It's an 883 from factory. And something about that combination makes these bikes romp. Just the head design and the smaller combustion chamber with the bigger jugs and stuff, just it works really, really well, and they become like a really, really fun bike. So that's what this thing started as, a full stock bike minus the headwork, or jugs, I guess, the big bore kit, and that's about it. And I always liked early choppers. Like, I know a lot of people call them bobbers and stuff right now, but I was very influenced by like shovel heads, pan heads, knuckle heads, like prior. And being, I think I was like 17 when I built this bike, 17, 18, probably 18, 19. Yeah, so that'd be like 10 years ago. So yeah, probably around 2015, 2014 actually. Anyways, I couldn't afford like a panhead or shovel head or anything, like even back then. So this bike came along. It was a stock bike, like I mentioned, with the jugs for $2,000. Had some head gasket problems. Ended up being a pretty easy fix. Fixed all that, and I started cutting it up right away. I rode it for maybe 2 kilometers, and I was like, back end's gotta go. I'm a real big fan of hardtails, and yeah, so I got a Road 6 Customs rear kit, because they had the nicest frame line. Like, it's pretty much straight the whole way down, where a lot of the other aftermarket ones are like on a different angle. I don't know if this company's still around, but at the time it wasn't the cheapest, but it was one of the only ones available that you could buy, and kind of went from there. So I cut the cam cover. A lot of guys keep this lower mount right there, but I've never had a problem. It's just like, there's one pin over here that keeps this thing square. I probably should have kept that. If I knew what I knew now, I would keep that, but whatever. That's there. I cut all this so you can see all this. I'd really like to go to a kick again, or not again, but a kick conversion kit. I did a chain conversion kit, and then I narrowed a Sportster tank, so I'm going to be changing that as well. I don't know if I'll change that in this video. I'll see if I can find one, but it only holds 1.125 gallons. It holds 5.1 liters of fuel. If I'm cruising on the freeway doing, I don't know, like 95 kilometers an hour, like 100 kilometers an hour, or 70 miles an hour, I can do about 100 miles, 140 kilometers, so I guess 80 miles. So it sucks. If you're romping in the city, I can get maybe 70 kilometers. It sucks. I'm gonna go to a bit bigger tank. If I can hold 2 gallons, I'll be happy. If I can get double the range, I'll be super happy. Flanders bars, I just got those the other day. This is a repop front end. I don't know if it's 2 over. It's one of the European ones. They're a lot better. This one rides pretty close to an OEM one. I have a factory one on my Panhead, and it rides really nice. Like, a lot of guys shit on Springers and stuff, but the original ones are the close to original ones with original style springs and everything, they ride super nice. So that's just what I'm used to. So yeah, I did just like a front brake because it was a daily, disc rear, LED headlight, and then seat done by Rafino. All my electrical down there. Made an oil bag bucket that looks like a big twin. And yeah, I really wanted to just make the bike look really old, and it's a 1990s bike, so I tried to make it that 60s, 70s, or maybe even, yeah, more 60s and 70s rather than like earlier. So I think I did a good job on it, but mind you, this is a long time ago. So yeah. So what we're gonna cut up. So when I built this bike, I did it for like quite a bit aesthetics. I already changed the handlebars because they were not comfortable. But now the seating position here, I think it looks super sick. But I built the bike to what I wanted. So that being said, it's very uncomfortable and I don't like it. So I'm gonna put a new sissy bar on it, new fender, new seat. I'll sell this. I kind of have all this stuff already sold. I'm just gonna build a new seat pan to like a, just like a king queen style here. Not king queen, I guess like a one up. I have a Ford spare tire surround that's been like cut, so I can't use it on the 36. So I'm gonna install that on this. And then I bought some, what's it called? I bought some solid rod a while ago that I will just make into a sissy bar. I don't know what shape it's gonna be. I have a couple lights that I'm gonna see if they'll work and kind of go from there. So I'm gonna bring it into the shop now and start taking all this apart. This is gonna be like a quick thing. I want to get riding this thing by the end of next week, so I'm gonna give myself a week to kind of do all this stuff and still work on the Roadster. So it's gonna be super busy, but let's get in the shop. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with by the seat. So the seat's just on a pivot. I think they make so many different companies of these. This one is a Built-Well. I think back in the day that was the kind of only company that made this kind of seat pivot. And then I'm gonna pull off the rear fender, the P-pad, the rear sissy bar, the rear wheel, and that will kind of let us know where we gotta go. Ooh, that's kind of stiff there. Gotta figure that out. That gets really stiff. Right there. Huh. Lots of little things that I didn't know when I was building it, and now I don't know if I know better, but I definitely am a little smarter than I was. So I'm gonna start just pulling stuff off and then go from there. And here I have it. So here's a sissy bar and the seat I gotta pull off, but kind of got like a fresh start going on over here. So I unfortunately dropped the tail lights, so the lens. So lucky it's just a Model A one, so I'm gonna have to just look for one of those online. I might cut off these brackets and start from scratch, but I got a new fender, or like not new, but like a new to me fender. So I'll go pick that up over the weekend and kind of just go from there, but at least now it's taken apart, so I have motivation to build it, to put it back together. So I messaged my buddy Juan if he had any rear fenders, and he was like, "Oh, you can have this one for free." So what this is like a 30s or 40s Ford spare tire wheel well surround that someone cut into 2 pieces to make a chopper fender, but it's a bit too wide for my liking. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull off. Let's turn the light on. I'm gonna just cut about an inch. It's 6 inches right now, and I like 5-inch fenders. It's a really good fit. So this curve here is about an inch. So I'm gonna cut a blade width on the inside of each of this. See this little bead here? And that will get me roughly 5 inches overall, because it's what, 5 and 1/4. So I'm gonna do 1 inch. So I'll leave a little bead, and then I'll just have to weld down at the center of the bead. It'll be less warping, less everything, just for the fact that it's a bead, it's not a flat piece of steel. And then I'll have like a wassail style beaded fender for free with some work. So I'm gonna get chopping on this right now. Sorry, there was no video for that, but I just cut the 2 sides off. Where's a strip? Sorry, there's been no video. It just kind of stopped. So here's a strip that I cut out. I just tacked it together. You kind of see it. I might cut some tacks. It was like a bit low on the one side there, but the rest of it seems pretty in the middle. Oh, there, it's a bit low too. So I just got to hammer some of it. Like there's really good. There's not. So I just got to clean that up a bit, but yeah, stoked with that. That was just quick. And now that's going to go like that. That fits a tire a lot better. So super happy. It's going to be good. So I'm kind of, now you've seen that everything's cut out and kind of how I designed that. It's kind of a long process. There's a lot of thinking to do. There's a lot of doing. There's a lot of, okay, if I do this, I can do this and that, whatnot, right? But we did it. We're there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm kind of going to build this completely different than I normally would. So normally I would have my fab table. I would be able to draw everything out on the fab table. I would bend all the sissy bar portions of like what it needs to be. I could draw like, okay, this has to bend here, this has to bend there, this has to be this dimension down here, but I don't have a fab table and stuff. So what I do have is these little, look at how cute that is. I'm so stoked on that. Look at a little bowl of noodles. What I do have is this angle here and this angle here. So as long as I put this in right, which I think it can be, I'm gonna be able to tack this to this there, and this to this there, and that will give me my sissy bar angle. So that's where that's gonna sit at. And then after that, this can kind of only fit in one place where it needs to be, which is probably about there. So that's going to be that height and that height. So now we have our two heights and our angles, and then we know this piece here has to be roughly 5.5 down here, and etc. So we're going to have to do a bend here and a bend over there and a couple other things, and I kind of want it to go back on an angle. So first kind of foremost thing is let's get these tacked in here in the center of here and here, and then we'll get the light mount tacked in. And then once we have those tacked in, we can kind of decipher our heights and stuff afterwards. So that's kind of my process of how I'm going to do this. Here is the rough mock-up. It looks kind of fat at the top. I don't know what I'm going to do there. It looks kind of wide. So, I don't know. It's not horrible. It's just not, I'm used to skinny tops and stuff, and this one isn't so skinny. But you can see that light goes in there. I did a 1/4 inch offset inside, so this kind of sits pretty flush, and then the wiring could just come on the backside. I'm a dumb butt and did not put holes for the wiring, so I'm gonna have to drill those manually, but not the end of the world. But yeah, that one goes there. And then this one is gonna go there like that. So that'll be nice, both angled. I don't know, just thought it was kind of cool. And then now this will probably get welded up somewhere about there for the license plate. And then this piece will go kind of underneath. I think I'm gonna kind of go like squish this in a little bit, go straight down where this is, and then I'll teeter out. Now that we kind of have both the same, I can just measure off, make some things, and then make some marks of where it has to be, and then I'll go a bit wider, because I think at the bottom of the wheel we have to get like 9 1/4 or 10 inches, and then these will just pop over like that. Oh, I made them a bit loose, but those get welded on, and then final weld all the sissy bar, and I mean, it's that easy. So here we are. I should have made this angle a bit more, but oh no, that's getting caught on everywhere. So, okay, that can't go in there. But that will probably be, it'll be a bit lower than that, so we'll come down and around. Yeah, I think that's a bit too tall. I would like this to be like probably here. So we'll drop it down a little bit. Where's that? That little topper of ours. Yeah, so we could put it there, but I'm gonna bend this a little bit, so this will probably be part of like more like right there. Yeah. I'll probably do like an inch from here to the sissy bar, to the, what's it called? This will be like right here. And then we'll do like another inch or so here. And then I'll put the bend mark here to kind of align with this, because that's where that has to go. And then I'll bend it a little bit to fit the fender and go from there. But yeah, one step at a time. So right here, I realized I gotta cut the upper fender mount off. I don't really want to cut the lower one off, but I might need to as well. It's kind of bad, but just allow me to move the fender back a bit. I could just like weld another mount on there, but I don't know yet. I am not sure, but this one's got to go first so I can weld this one on. I had this one in my stash of stuff, so that'll work. Forgot to film it, but I just hit that with a hammer on my piece of railroad track, and now that's flat, and that's where I'm gonna drill the hole. So I just drilled a hole in the bottom fender there, flatten it out, put a nut and bolt on there. I'll probably weld a insert onto the actual fender later, but for now that's like that. So I think I'll put that down a little bit like that. I'm used to having like super tight clearances on my fenders and everything, and well, I screwed up on this one and actually caught this fender on fire one time. Kind of see here, the old one, because I did the clearances way too tight and I changed a tire, put it on, seemed like it rolled freely, and it didn't. And I went for a ride, everything, my rear seat caught on fire and such, and well, here we are. So this one, I'm not building a show bike, I'm building a rider, so I'm just gonna give it a bit more space so I have a wider selection of tires I can use and go from there. So I kind of zap strap the back of the fender with some spacing there, because when this moves out, the top diameter is going to move back. Kind of gives it like that old school, like chopped Fender mountain racer look. I got some clearance up there. I might have to push it a bit forward, I think. And then I got this bracket here. I'm gonna cut it across there and then weld it on, and then that kind of portion's done. And then I can work on the sissy bar. So I was gonna TIG weld this, but honestly, well, we're here with the MIG welder and I just MIG'd it in. I gotta do the bottom of those still, but I mean, that is solid. That is where it needs to be. It's centered on the wheel, centered with the gas tank and stuff. I just put this here quickly just to like save the wires from the heat because I didn't quite think that through, so yeah. So now, we just have to cut this to height, kind of see where we want it. That's way too angled, but put it somewhere around there and then we're kind of golden. So what I'm gonna do now is just bend this bracket here and just gonna put a little bit of a peak in it so it can go around the peak in the fender. And then I'm gonna take these Welding bungs that I bought a long time ago. I'm just gonna put them in here and then I'm just gonna weld the flange to the fender. So what I'm gonna do here is weld this to the sissy bar, and then I can put my rear plate mount on. And then what that'll allow me to do is cut these a bit shorter and then weld this to the fender. Once this is welded to the fender, then that'll kind of allow me to bend these wider while that's connected to the bike and put them into the mounts here. I think that's gonna be the way I'm gonna do it. I'm not full sure yet, but that's the idea. So after looking at the sissy bar, I've been looking at it for quite a while, and I think I'm gonna cut it up and change it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna put these two bars together, weld them together for probably be like 1/2 inch or something. Maybe I'll squish them together a bit just to get a little curve in this. And then down here, I'm just gonna cut this off, and I'm gonna put this actually on the front side of here. So then the back side, my wiring can run on this side. Oh, sorry. So then on this side, my wiring can kind of run on the inside of the bar here. Or maybe I should put this on this side. I'm not sure. I'll have to like figure that out once I'm going. But I think I'll probably run this on this side just because the way the license plate bracket goes on, it's gonna be on this side. And then down here, I'll come out and I have this on the outskirts of like after I bend this out to go to the bottom mounts here. It's kind of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and it's not like how I originally had it planned, but I feel like it looks too fat right now. It's too wide for the rest of the bike, and there's not enough distance down here to come out really big. So yeah, time to cut it up. So what I'm going to do here next is just measure from the end of the top down here to kind of get an idea of where I want to go. So that one there is 31 and a half. That one's 31 and a half. So we're pretty square there, like as best as we're going to be. So maybe we'll start the little bend around 32 and a half, an inch down. I'm probably 34. So I have an inch and a half offset. So here we go, 32 and a half and 34. And then once we kind of get that done, we will have a ballpark of where to put these bottom parts on. Put the bottom parts here to align with the side of the frame. And yeah, I think kind of what we got to do roughly is we'll get a rough length right now. It's probably what, 8 inches? 9 and a half. So if we're coming to about, what are we from there to there? Let's say like 12 inches. So 12 to 14 from here. So yeah, we're gonna have to come around here at 14. Let's see what that is from the top. That's 48 and a half. This one's 48 and a half. So at this point down here, we're roughly I don't know if you can see that, where the rear wheel's gonna go. That has to be about 8 and a half, 9 and a half, I mean. So currently 6 and a quarter. So we have to, well, the inside is 5 and a quarter. So we have to come out about 3 and a half inches. So each one of these is gonna just kick out a little bit, and then we'll kick it out enough for our little adapter here, our little mount, our fender mount. And then once our fender mount is on, so we'll have to go probably like an inch each one offset, and then we'll just have the outsides on kind of an angle. I don't like when the outsides of the frame are straight up. I just don't think they look good. So when they're on a bit of an angle and then they come in and then go into a steeper angle, I'm really a fan of that. And all my bikes have had that, so that's going to be kind of our consensus of it. So yeah, I'm going to start heating this up and give us a pretty good idea of where we'll have to go here. I have this, and I can kind of use it as a center mark here to offset it, and we'll go from there. So this portion was probably the most difficult part so far. Not that, like, obviously you're just heating up the metal and bending it. It wasn't a physical hardship. It was more just trying to keep both sides flat. I tried to do my best with helping the situation by welding on the license plate mount and the other things, so then I can eyesight it a little bit. But as far as it went, like, usually I have my big flat fabrication table, and that allows me just to put the whole thing on there, clamp it down, and when I move the bars left and right, it just stays flat because I can just have it flat on the table, where here I'm kind of eyeballing it all and doing the best I can. And then I just left the sides on a slant because it needs some style. So now that that's all bent, what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure from the top and put a line here and a line here where this kind of matches, because that'll be center this way no matter what. And then just confirm it by measuring from here to the top of here and here, because then we'll know that's square. And then I'm going to put this on, and then I can kind of cut it at a rough point and then final cut it and weld it onto the fender and weld it onto the mounts. And then I can just final weld it once we get our angle we like. And Bob's your uncle. That was super impressive. I just happened to put it at the perfect spot. I had to move it just a little bit with a little tap, but that's good. So I'm going to throw 4 tacks on there, and then we'll get it on the bike.
So here I'm just measuring off, just making sure that that bracket is square and good length and just even on each side. And then I'm just going to shed off the extra weight. Just going to cut off the bottoms and kind of get it to a length where we can install on the bike and kind of just go from there. So now that I got it like where I want it and stuff, I'm gonna just, I like this angle. So I'm just gonna mark off these here and here. I give this a little sand. And then I'm going to take the welder and tack these up. And it's all kind of done. All kind of. Take my crescent wrench, just put them on these little tabs here and just like put a little bit of an angle onto them, like just a little bit. Oh, this one's hard to do because of my chain for its intentions. So I'm gonna throw this back on here. I'll grab my welder and gonna weld it in. There we go. That fits nicely now. Cool. Maybe it's the same. I mean, the same angle looks good, unfortunately, but it's kind of sucks because the whole point of this was so I can, first of all, get a better seat. Second of all, get a bit more room. Maybe I'll just tilt it back a bit. No, that's too much. I don't like. That's kind of gonna have to be there. I'm gonna have to live with it, unfortunately. That's just kind of is what it is. Yeah, so let's get welding. Let's get welding. I had it like this, and then it like went back a little bit and up, so this line here followed really nicely, but then it kind of like corked back. Maybe I'll do that to this, but I can do that later. I can just heat these up while it's all connected and kind of play with it there. I'm just gonna play it safe right now, do this, and if I find it's not good, well, then we're good. I guess like a good idea of this was on my other, and that kind of has less room now. So it's almost like this does have to go like that, and then maybe I can, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna do that. And then I'll just heat these up and bend it to the angle I like. Because then this will buy me some room with a backpack. Yeah. So if I have that angle and then I bend this a bit straight up, that will give me more room. So you know what? Let's just do this right. That'll be fine. So like obviously right now it looks way too angled. But right here, I'll just zoink it more straight up. It'll give the illusion, it'll give me a bit more space, and kind of everything will go good. It's a bit tall. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop this off. I'm gonna bend these together more as close as I can get them here, and wherever they kind of like, I can cheat it as much as I can. I'm gonna put the topper here or somewhere because I don't like it. It's good for a full chopper, but it's still gonna be like my daily rider, so. Oh, here's the fender all welded up. I put a little lip on it, got that all welded up. I'm just gonna leave the bottom a nut and bolt just for ease. Sissy bar got all welded up. I'm gonna just hit that with a DA quickly, get that all nice and shiny again, and now I just have to go buy some paint. I'll paint the fender super quick, just like a shitty black, and then we'll be on to the seat pan. I'm gonna finish this video here and then I'll do the seat separately. And then we'll get everything mounted and everything as one. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit different, but I wanna ride this thing. It's more of a, I'm just building it for myself and I'm just filming everything and kind of explaining a little bit of stuff. So yeah, thank you guys. Please hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you later. See ya.